Right then, lads and lasses, how we're doing, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Now, with Newcastle United being pretty infamously regarded with having to sell players to buy players, it's inevitable that we will see a fair few faces leave the club in the summer. But just who will that be? I've personally picked out 6 players who I think will leave the club in the summer and who I would sell as well. And I've also picked 4 players who I would not sell in the upcoming summer transfer window. All 4 of these players, by the way, have been spurred up in the conversation of being sold for financial fair play freedom. I've got my reasons to why I wouldn't sell them, and of course the 6 players there to why I would. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure the older generation who is watching this video can certainly empathise with this so much more. Football is a brutal sport. There is some fan favourites, and yeah, some players who will hurt us sentimentally if they do leave, but we've got to do what's right for the club, whatever brings in the best sort of money for the value of player that goes out. Without further ado, let's get into it. And as you can see by the thumbnail, ladies and gentlemen, this is a fan discussion video. It's not any sort of daily news where I've seen something from an article and I've sort of portrayed it back onto this video. It's a fan discussion video where we all come together, we all share our thoughts. So make sure you get down in the comments below and actually let me know if you were in the shoes of Eddie Howe, who you would sell in the summer transfer window, and if you agree or disagree with any of the points I've made. If I say we were to sell Loris Karius and you say, nah, keep Loris Karius, he's the best goalkeeper in the world, obviously not, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, if you do enjoy this video, ladies and gentlemen, it's so important that we keep them on the channel. It kind of shows other people that we're doing a good job over here. And of course, subscribe if you are new. Get them notification bells turned on as well, so you never miss an upload and you're very nice and early. So also, speaking about getting a bit hurt sentimentally and not wanting to sell certain players and football being a brutal sport, that leads us on to our first point very, very well. And it's actually, I know I said at the end of the video, I'm going to make a point to who I would not sell, but this one has got to be said first. We are not going to sell Alexander Isak or Bruno G, and I've got many, many reasons why. I know some people will actually disagree with that. In my opinion, look, yes, undoubtedly Bruno G, Bruno Guimaraes, and Alexander Isak will bark up the most fee, will get the most money, and we could have a fantastic rebuild. Undoubtedly, we could get more than 200 million for both players combined, and we would have a lot of money to spend. We would have to build the club from the ground up. It genuinely would be extortionate amount of money, let's just say that, but we cannot sell them. You cannot replace Bruno Guimaraes or Alexander Isak, both players who are constantly linked to overseas teams, the likes of your Arsenals, your Real Madrids, your Paris Saint-Germains, especially Alexander Isak in Arsenal at the minute. Miguel Alon is a very, very big sort of admirer of Alexander Isak, but you can't sell them. They are genuinely irreplaceable. The way them two players absolutely pluck goes out of thin air. I don't know where we would be without them. Honestly, Alexander Isak's masterclass up top every single game. Give him a half chance. Give him the least service you ever could give him. The most minimal service, and he's plucking goals out with thin air. Give him a penalty, he's never going to miss, as he never has for Newcastle United. And the same with Bruno. This lad is a centre mid, and he goes on like he plays as a centre back, a right back, a cam, a left wing, a striker. He's all over the pitch. His desire and determination for someone who's from Brazil, and implementing that in Newcastle United, we're not going to see that again. You cannot replace these players. I don't care if we get £200 million. They are not for sale. But look, onto the first player who I genuinely would sell, and he is a Newcastle United player. The first player I believe will go through the door. It's not like I want to shove him out, but for many, many reasons I would sell this player. He is a little bit of a fan favourite, and that player is Miguel Alon. Look, Miguel Alon's 30 years old, and in my opinion, he's not the quality that we need at Newcastle United. And look, I can cut Miggy so much credit. I think his pace is very, very good in Eddie Howe's system. His work rate, for example, of course, but it's the other side of his game. Yes, his work rate's great. Yes, he tries for the teams, and he is a grafter. He's an unbelievable player, and he served us very, very well, but he's not the quality that we need at Newcastle United. If you want to be a winger in this team, of course, if we want to aspire to get them European spots next season, and fingers crossed win something like the Europa League or the Conference League, if we get in them sort of competitions, as of right now, we've got 6 very crucial games left. Miguel Alon is not that player. You've got to be able to use both feet. And what I don't like with Miggy, you can all say, oh look, he can't use both feet. Yes, on his left foot, but when he actually gets the chance to shoot on that left foot, these shots are going nowhere. They're not going in the back of the net. And in my opinion, that sort of purple patch, as we like to call it, last season kind of saved Miguel Alon's reputation at Newcastle United. Would it have been Miggy sold instead of Alan St-Maximin? Of course, I know both players are in different positions. But the thing with Miguel Alon, he's just too inconsistent. He's not great offensively whatsoever. And he kind of stops the run of play as well. Kieran Trippier has to run past him and overlap to get the ball into the box because he can't use that right foot to cross it. It's such a burden in our team. I love Miggy, but also, as we do know, Al-Shabaab of the Saudi Pro League came in with an offer around £20 million last summer. If something can come in like that in the summer transfer window, or sorry, they came in January, in the summer transfer window, if they came back in with a £20 million offer, I'm taking that every day of the week. And number 3 is another player who is kind of a liability, but in many, many other reasons. That player is, of course, who I would sell, Callum Wilson. Now, I don't want Callum Wilson to be taken out of context because I absolutely love him. He's done fantastic for Newcastle United when he's been fit. Key word in the main catalyst to why he is being sold: when he is fit. He is one of the worst players I've ever seen for being injured. His injury record is absolutely terrible, whether it's his pectoral injuries or his hamstrings or his calves or his knees, whatever it is, he gets injured off the slightest touch. He honestly is a complete, I don't want to say sick note because I think that's sort of associated with players who were injured all the time but weren't great. Callum Wilson, when he is playing, he's absolutely fantastic. The numbers last season and seasons prior to that, he's been absolutely superb for Newcastle United. Honestly, the best striker since Shearer, in my opinion. Alexander Isak has that title now. But look, he's just too unreliable for Newcastle United. When he's back, yet again, the main reason, he is very, very good. But he's 32 years old now. Of course, we know Atletico Madrid came in with an offer. Newcastle United actually rejected that. And then he got injured for 6 to 9 weeks, which was, looks like very unhappy from the Callum Wilson camp. But he's just becoming a liability. 32 years old, always getting injured. If we can get a fee with them, he's going to have to go. But bearing in mind, if Callum Wilson does go, and of course with Alexander Isak being pretty injury prone, so to speak, Callum Wilson as well, we do need a striker replacement there, 110%. That has got to be one of the main priorities in the summer. And number 4, many of you actually, before I even started this video, when you clicked on it, you would have seen him on the thumbnail, and I think many of you would agree with us as well. Of course, let me know down below if you disagree or agree with any of these points, ladies and gentlemen, but it is Matthew Targett for one reason solely. Is he a bad player? Absolutely not. Yes, he's had a fair few injuries at Newcastle United, but last season I was kind of even preferring him over Dan Burn at left back. Look, he's not a bad player whatsoever, but the competition at left back, it's very, very feisty at the minute. Valentino Livramento can play there. Dan Burn can play there. Keyword being can play there. He's not very great, is he? At centre-back, he's unbelievably superior there. Kieran Trippier can play there. More so, yet again, can play there. He's okay there. I think we've only seen him once when Tino came onto the pitch. And them two players can both play right back and left back. Absolutely fantastic problem to have, so to speak. Lewis Hall can also play there. In his recent performances, I've been kind of impressed with young Lewis Hall. 19 years old. He's still got a lot of time to actually perform on his performances at Newcastle United. But the reason, not only because of that competition, why he's not kind of needed at Newcastle United, but he's on 100 grand a week. 100 grand a week for the service of Matthew Targett. It's not great in my books, but also, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of a negative because in this situation, who on earth is going to want to take Matthew Targett on 100 grand a week? And Matthew Targett knows he's got a fair few years left on his contract at Newcastle United. Is he just going to jump ship for Newcastle United and what? Lose 50 grand a week? He's not going to do that whatsoever. How is he getting paid 100 grand a week, by the way? Honestly, I'd love to be in that man's shoes. But look, he's getting paid 100 grand a week. There's so much competition at left back. He's not a bad player whatsoever. If he was to go, I'd wish him the best, but he's not needed at Newcastle United. Too much competition and way too much money as well. But this moves on to us, to our last point, ladies and gentlemen. And the last, I've kind of included these players all into one bracket, and the word that's been associated with these players is Deadwood. And I think rightly so as well. So 3 players I've got here in one bracket is Paul Dummett, Matt Ritchie and Mark Gillespie. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Deadwood, simple as. And by the way, all of these players combined cost us £90,000 per week. That's Matt Ritchie on 45 grand, Paul Dummett on 35 grand and Mark Gillespie on 10 grand a week. Now, I know that doesn't sound a lot, but imagine if we were on 10 grand a week. What's he doing? Putting the cones out or something like that? But seriously, look, it's not like every single player there is going to be wanted by the best of the best teams, you know what I mean? And they're all coming to the end of their careers, and they are kind of just getting a paycheck from Newcastle United. Although Matt Ritchie's played a fair few times for Newcastle, and Paul Dummett as well. Matt Ritchie's even scored this season against his former team. Newcastle United never fails to surprise us, I'm telling you that now. But with the 3 players, there's no benefit that they actually give us. Yes, we've had to call upon them this season, but that's in a bizarre injury crisis that we have been under. They're not doing anything. Cost them 90 grand a week. Get them out the door. And finally, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to I would not sell in the summer. And starting us straight off, I don't think there's anyone better. The one player, of course, there's a fair few more after that. I think there's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 more players after this one. But the one reason why I've started with Sean Longstaff to why I would not sell him is because of the stick I've given recently. Honestly, his performances have been shambolic. They've been terrible, simple as. I'm not going to deny that. But he's a Geordie lad at the end of the day. And I feel so sorry. I've said it 10,000 times. Every time I've rinsed into him, I have said he's a Geordie lad. I don't want to sort of put him down. But his performances have been terrible recently. Of course, he's came out and said he has got a sort of broken foot, so to speak, since last season against Everton. I don't know why. In a season, look, in theory, when we had the likes of Tonali, Joel and Bruno, Ellie Anderson, Lewis Miley, all available, and Joe Willock before that injury crisis, why would he not take the sort of rehabilitation to get that foot sorted out when we had all of them midfielders? It is a bit bizarre, but look, the reason why I would not sell Sean Longstaff is because he's a Geordie lad. I would say money can't buy that. You can buy a Geordie, but you know what I mean. It's a sort of irreplaceable thing in its own aspect. No, it doesn't make him a better player, but he's got something when we get to them Wembley Cup finals, or when we get back to them Champions League days. He can ingrain it into the foreign players, the likes of Bruno, who of course kind of knows it himself, but yeah, Isak's, of course, the new faces that come through the door. What this means to Newcastle, not as a football club, but as a city as well. He ingrains what it means to be a Geordie, to have that passion under all them years of crap. No matter what, we still packed out that stadium. When we have that passion, no one can kind of reimburse as a football club. Sean Longstaff can get that into him. Now, I know the likes of Leeds have been rumoured with Sean Longstaff for £15 million. In my opinion, although he would be PR profit from being a product of the academy, of course, it cost us absolutely nothing to get the service of Sean Longstaff, and we would get £15 million straight back if he did go for £15 million. But in my opinion, next season, if he sort of recovers from this foot injury, he's going to be a fantastic backup player, especially with the form we've seen him on last season. So fingers crossed he can stay at Newcastle United. I know some people will disagree with that, so of course let me know down below if you do disagree. But moving on straight to the next player, that is Jacob Murphy. Now this one's a situational one, ladies and gentlemen. It's if Miguel Alon doesn't get sold, which in my opinion, look, I'm not just saying I want Miggy to be sold. I seriously can see Miguel Alon being sold in the next summer transfer window. But Jacob Murphy, if Miggy is sold, I want to keep him at Newcastle United. He's not a local Geordie lad. I think he's born in Burtley, but he is a Newcastle United fan. Born and bred, so to speak. So that's not just the reason why I would keep him, but he genuinely is a fantastic backup player. No, he's not been on the best form recently, but last season we've seen him. We actually have seen sparks of it this season. When the team's playing well, Jacob Murphy plays well. He's also with them daft faces, he's kind of a little vibe player. He kind of plays off the vibes, doesn't he? But the reason I would keep him, look, if Miggy goes, we're getting another class right winger for the likes of £50 million. Whoever that may be. I've spurred up the names of the like of Mateus Sewell from... Where's he from again? This is coming off the top of my head now. Frosinone. He's on loan in Frosinone from Juventus. Fantastic young Argentinian player, by the way. Doing superb in a relegation-threatened team. If we could get someone like that, Jacob Murphy, he's not going to absolutely drastically change Newcastle United. He's not top quality, but he is a fantastic cover player, and it's what we kind of need. I mean, he's fantastic having the dressing room as well, isn't he? And moving on to a player who I think many people have been very, very harsh with, and a lot may not agree with it. Some people have actually classed this player in the likes of the Deadwood bracket, and that is Emil Krafth, who has just been given a one-year contract extension. In my opinion, Emil Krafth doesn't get classed in that Deadwood bracket. When he's been called upon this season, he's genuinely been decent. The likes of Chelsea away before he got absolutely snapped, Fulham at home. He was very, very good. Honestly, I really do like Emil Krafth. No, yet again, I have to explain it every single time. He's not a world-class player, but third choice behind Tino and Trippier next season, he's not bad whatsoever, isn't he? He's not bad. And last up, before we wrap the video up, ladies and gentlemen, it's Joe Willock. I do not want to sell Joe Willock, and I know I said at the start of the video, sentimentality is a very, very untrue thing in football terms. It's kind of just grabbing at us here. Joe Willock, look, he's a fantastic player. He's had some horrible injuries this season, and actually, I made a very separate video on Joe Willock. Is it time to cash in on him? In the video, I know I said, is it time to cash in on him? On the video, I basically just said, it's not, and I still stand by my point. Yeah, Joe Willock, he's absolutely superb. When he runs up the ball with the pitch, which, by the way, he's superb with dragging that ball up the pitch. He gives us something which is unique to every other midfielder, unique to even the likes of Bruno, Tonali, and Joe Linton. He's a fantastic player to bring off the bench. Versatility allows him to play left wing and centre mid. When him and Joe Linton are on the pitch, or Elliot Anderson, they can sort of chop and change. I absolutely love that, by the way. That's why I would keep him. I know we could get a relatively big price tag for Joe Willock, but he's pretty important in Newcastle United. Look, on the other hand, if a team came in with £50 million, for example, I know they will not, certainly will not, but if someone came in for £50 million, and by the way, off the top of my head, I'm not the sort of financial fair play expert, but that allows us to spend £100 million for a player on a 5-year contract, one player, of course. It kind of would persuade us, I'm not going to lie. It would persuade us. £50 million for Joe Willock, and we've still got 7 midfielders there, or 6 midfielders there. I'm taking that every day of the week. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, you let me know if you agree with the players that I would sell and the players that I would not sell. And of course, if you disagree as well. If you haven't already, get down there and hit that like button. I really do appreciate it so much, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, hit them notification bells to be early for every single upload. I've been Geordie Josh, ladies and gentlemen. Go have a fantastic day. Go and enjoy your day.